The Dolphins traded down to the 6th overall pick. But what was crazier that happened was that the 49ers traded up to the 3rd overall pick, which means they are probably going to take a quarterback. This move was very surprising to me because I like Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is a good quarterback. People have been very disrespectful and dismissive of how good Jimmy G has been with the 49ers and when he's played. And because of that, this move shocked me. But obviously, because they made this move, they are looking at Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, and maybe Zach Wilson if he does fall to 3. There are 2 scenarios for the San Francisco 49ers that I envision happening with the 3rd overall pick. The first one is that they want an NFL-ready quarterback, and right now that's Mac Jones. If they want to go the route of getting a quarterback that can help them win right now, then that guy is Mac Jones, no doubt about it. If they want to go the route of taking a project, I think they go Trey Lance. I don't think Justin Fields is even in the conversation of being the 3rd overall pick. And the reason I say that is because he's the worst short passer in this draft in terms of the top 5 quarterbacks of Wilson, Lawrence, Jones, Lance, and of course Fields. Shanahan's system, the West Coast offense, is predicated on the short passing game and the running game. Justin Fields can only offer one thing to that, and that's his running ability. He's not an accurate enough short passer to fit the system. And even today in Kyle Shanahan's press conference, he talked about it and said, at the end of the day, you can have the athleticism, but if you can't stay in the pocket and play the quarterback position, it's not going to offer much. And right now, I don't think that's Justin Fields. So the 49ers traded the 12th pick, 2 more first rounders, and a 3rd rounder to move up from 12 to 3. So that means that, of course, they're getting a quarterback because you don't trade that much to get a quarterback. It also tells me this. You don't trade 3 first-round picks to move up to 3 and draft a project, a guy that you're not sure about, a guy that you think might or may not pan out. And the 2 guys that are projects are Justin Fields and Trey Lance. I'm predicting that Mac Jones is going to be the 3rd overall pick in the NFL draft. And if they don't take him, I'd really be surprised. And in fact, they should take him. Please tell me this. Why would it be smarter to draft a project in Lance and Fields than an NFL-ready guy in Mac Jones? Mac Jones is better than Justin Fields and Trey Lance. The line of thinking that, oh, just draft Lance and Fields because maybe they can become Josh Allen or this and that is really stupid to me. And the reason why it's stupid is because, 1, they probably won't become that. 2, they're different prospects than those other guys coming in. And 3, the 49ers want to win right now. They want to win right now. They can't take a chance on a guy. This move was not for a project. It's smarter to take Mac Jones because it's not like Mac Jones has hit his ceiling. He's like 22. Mac Jones has not hit his ceiling. Mac Jones is still going to get better. But right now, he's better than these guys, especially as a passer. If you want to talk about athleticism, yes, Fields and Lance are more athletic. But when talking about playing the quarterback position, that's Mac Jones. Jones has a good arm, great anticipation. He's elite at reading defenses. He has a great pocket presence, and he has a passionate approach to the game. When I've seen him, I think he's a perfectionist. There are times where he'll miss a throw by a little bit, and he'll be frustrated and disappointed because he knows he could have done better. To me, that shows competitiveness. That shows drive and passion for wanting to perfect your craft. Out of every quarterback in this draft class, whether it be Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, Fields, Lance, Mac Jones, to me, has the best pocket presence out of all of them. And it's not even close. And you want to know why? Because when you're athletic, when you have gifts, athletic ability, you don't have to be great in the pocket or have great pocket awareness because you can just run out of it. You can just run out of the situation. Mac Jones didn't have that luxury. So he had to really develop and hone in that skill. That's why he can feel rushers. He knows when to step up. He knows when to slide. He knows when to move right, left. He knows that. That's why I think he's just such a better prospect than Fields and Lance. He's much farther ahead in the quarterback process than those guys. And also, another thing I love about Mac Jones is that he didn't get to play. People talk about Mac Jones' lack of experience, but the thing is that he was sitting behind Tua. Mac Jones was sitting behind Tua. And instead of crying about it and transferring to another school, which is what Justin Fields did, Justin Fields didn't start over Jake Fromm and now all of a sudden wants to transfer to Ohio State. And I get it. That was a good decision for him. But Mac Jones wasn't in somber. He didn't cry. He worked. He grinded. He learned the offense. And guess what? When he stayed, he remained patient. He worked in silence. He mastered the playbook. And he had a fantastic season and is now a first-round quarterback. Other prospects would have transferred. That's what Fields did. He left Georgia. Jones, once he got his opportunity, he showed that he probably was better than Tua. And I think this past season, you watch Alabama with less talent, he was better than Tua, and he's a better prospect than Tua coming out. He mastered the offense. He mastered Steve Sarkisian's offense so good that he taught Bill O'Brien, a former head coach, the offense. Something has to be said for that type of amazing football character, but character in general. Most young people in the face of adversity automatically run away from it. Oh, you don't think I'm better than this guy? Okay, I'm going to go to the school where they are going to coddle me and give me everything. Jones didn't do that. He stayed long-term. He knew that Alabama is going to develop me into a good quarterback. So because of that, I'm going to stay here. And guess what? He was right. He banked on himself. He banked on the people in the building. He trusted them, and he overcame it. And now look at where Mac Jones is right now. To me, I think he's Eli Manning. That's my comparison. But if we want to talk current players, he's Matt Ryan or Kirk Cousins. And that's exactly the kind of guy that Kyle Shanahan likes. I mean, in Washington, he drafted Kirk Cousins. Fun fact, Kyle Shanahan did not want to draft Robert Griffin. The Shanahan family did not want to draft Robert Griffin because he was a great rookie. He had great running ability, but he wasn't a good passer. And ultimately, his career failed because he wasn't able to pass the football. Because the quarterback position is about passing the football. It's not about who runs a better 40 time. And that's why Tom Brady is the GOAT. Kyle Shanahan with Kirk Cousins, he developed them. And it's also safe to note that Kirk Cousins did not play great under Kyle Shanahan. Kirk Cousins played great after. But they did draft Kirk Cousins because they believed in him in the 4th round. But then in 2016, with Matt Ryan, Kyle Shanahan, they almost won a Super Bowl. Matt Ryan won MVP that year. If it's not for them blowing a historically great lead, they would have won the Super Bowl with Matt Ryan. And Mac Jones, to me, is Matt Ryan. Of course, if he is drafted, the expectation around Mac Jones is that he better lead the 49ers to the Super Bowl. But guess what? That's for any quarterback they draft, whether it be Zach Wilson, Lawrence, if God so helps it happen that way. If it's Trey Lance or Justin Fields, any quarterback that is drafted to San Fran, the expectation is to win the Super Bowl. Right now, at the quarterback position, as a quarterback alone, are you trusting Mac Jones, Trey Lance, or Justin Fields to win you a Super Bowl? Not 4 or 5 years from now, not banking on their potential. I'm talking about right now. It's Mac Jones. Mac Jones is more ready to lead a team right now. People are so sold on Fields and Lance because of how Allen, Mahomes, Herbert, and Lamar developed. But Trey Lance and Josh Allen is such a lazy comparison to me. Trey Lance does not have the arm strength of Josh Allen. They just compare those two because they both went to small schools and they're around the same height. That's really it. Fields nor Lance have Mahomes' arm or Herbert's arm or Allen's arm, and Herbert's college offense held them back. The only reason people were hesitant on Herbert was because they thought the reason that Oregon's offense threw a bunch of screens was because of Justin Herbert's lack of ability and the lack of trust the coaching staff had in Herbert. But in reality, it was because the offensive coordinator just sucked. That was really the reality. Justin Herbert was able to do what he's doing now. He just was never given the opportunity. I say all this to say this. We always want to compare these guys to the top quarterbacks because of potential, but they just don't have their gifts that those other top quarterbacks have. People compare Lance and Fields to Lamar's running ability. Lamar's running ability is far superior to those two. And also, we want to talk about projects and players with potential or dual threat quarterbacks. The ability to be a dual threat quarterback is so overrated to me. Tim Tebow didn't pan out. Matt Leinart didn't pan out. Jake Locker didn't pan out. Robert Griffin III didn't pan out. Marcus Mariota didn't pan out. Mitchell Trubisky didn't pan out. And Marcus Mariota and Robert Griffin III were way better prospects coming out of college than Trey Lance and Justin Fields. Lance nor Fields are better than Robert Griffin III or Mariota coming out of college. Playing quarterback is always about your arm, accuracy, decision-making, and anticipation. The only reason why people are low on Mac Jones is because of two things. Because he played for Alabama and he had a stacked roster, even though he had a less talented roster than Tua, and yet last year everybody mocked Tua first or fourth where they mocked him. Most people had Tua as the number one quarterback. And also because he's not a great athlete. But I don't care about you being a great athlete. I care about you being a quarterback, because the quarterback is not being about it's not about being the best athlete. It's about being the best quarterback. Like I said, playing the quarterback position will always be about your arm, your accuracy, your anticipation, and ability to read defenses. Justin Fields and Trey Lance aren't even close to Mac Jones when it comes to that aspect of the game. And that's why not only should the 49ers draft Mac Jones, but 49ers fans should be happy if they draft Mac Jones. And I already know how all of this is going to go down. The 49ers draft Mac Jones, number 3 overall, and everybody's going to hate it. Everybody's going to clown the 49ers for it. But guess what? If Mac Jones starts week 1 and Jimmy G does not, in Kyle Shanahan's offense with those weapons, Mac Jones will be the offensive rookie of the year. I'm going out on a limb and saying that. If he, in fact, does start week 1 and is in that offense, it's probably going to happen that way. A lot of people are going to be eating their words on Mac Jones. I'm telling you. And I know people are going to laugh at the pick. I've always said this. His floor is 8 at Carolina. There is no way he gets past 8. And yet there are some people that think that he was going to be there at 15 or 12. No, he was not. Mac Jones was not falling to 12. No way in hell he was falling to 12. No way. Fans are higher on Jones and Lance because of potential. But Mac Jones is actually the sleeper quarterback and the most underrated quarterback in this draft because of his lack of athleticism and because he was an Alabama quarterback. So I'll say it again. They're going to laugh at the pick. But if you watch film and you watch Mac Jones, you know it was actually a good pick. And I hope the 49ers do, in fact, take Mac Jones with the 3rd overall pick.